There comes a moment in every life when the curtain pulls back and you finally see people for who they truly are. Not who you wanted them to be, not who you imagined them to be, but who they really are beneath the smiles, beneath the jokes, beneath the borrowed loyalty they gave you in moments of convenience. The people you call friends are not always your friends. Some of them are simply companions for the road, passengers on a journey they were never meant to complete with you. They were assigned to your chapter, but not your book. They were connected to your moments, but not to your mission. It's a hard truth to swallow because we love deeply, we trust freely, and we assume naturally. We assume that everyone laughing with us is celebrating us. We assume that everyone who knows our struggles holds our secrets with honor. We assume that those who clap for us in public care for us in private. But life teaches you that applause does not always come from appreciation. Sometimes it comes from entertainment. Sometimes the loudest supporter is the quietest betrayer when the crowd disperses and the lights dim down. If you live long enough, you'll discover that some people only stay while the benefits stay. They are loyal as long as your season favors their comfort. They are close as long as your progress doesn't provoke their insecurity. They are encouraging as long as your growth doesn't highlight their stagnation. The moment your blessing exposes their brokenness, the moment your elevation awakens their envy, the moment your success challenges their comfort, suddenly the friendship begins to tremble. Suddenly the conversations change. Suddenly they don't meet you with the same warmth, the same sincerity, the same delight. What you must understand is that not everyone has the emotional maturity to celebrate someone else's victory. Not everyone has the integrity to handle your destiny. Not everyone has the capacity to walk with you into the next dimension of your life. Some people cannot go where you are going, not because they are evil, but because they are unassigned. They do not have the character to withstand the pressure that comes with your calling. They do not have the resilience to stand in storms that were engineered for your strength. They do not have the alignment to fit the future that is shaping around you. And so, life will begin to separate you, not out of anger, but out of necessity, not out of bitterness, but out of protection. You may cry over the distance, but the distance is divine. You may grieve the loss, but the loss is part of your liberation. You may feel alone for a moment, but alone is not always lonely. Alone is sometimes the classroom where you learn who you are without the noise of false companionship. Alone is where you rediscover your voice, your purpose, your clarity. Alone is where you become strong enough to discern the difference between those who love you and those who use you. There will be people who walk out on you without explanation, and you will wonder what you did wrong. But sometimes their departure is the evidence that you did something right. You grew, you developed, you evolved beyond the environment where they felt comfortable controlling you. And when people cannot control you, they try to mislabel you. They try to diminish you. They try to distort the story so they can feel justified in leaving. But don't you carry their misunderstanding as your identity. Don't you shrink yourself just to fit into a friendship that was built on conditions. Don't you apologize for outgrowing places where your spirit could no longer breathe. You must learn to bless people as they go and not chase people who cannot stay. Some friendships are seasonal, some are situational, some are spiritual assignments, and some are simply illusions. Maturity is knowing the difference. Strength is walking away without resentment. Wisdom is recognizing that losing the wrong people creates room for the right people. And clarity is understanding that the people you call friends are not always your friends, but the ones who are meant for you will never make you question their presence. their loyalty, or their heart, there comes a point in life when your eyes begin to adjust to the truth you once ignored, the truth you once excused, the truth you once convinced yourself wasn't real because it was easier to believe in illusion than to confront reality. And that truth is simple. The people you call friends are not always your friends. Some people wear the title without carrying the heart. Some people stand near you without standing with you. Some people speak kindly in your presence, but speak carelessly in your absence. And when you begin to grow, when you begin to heal, when you begin to rise from the very places where you once laid broken, you start recognizing the difference between companionship and counterfeit connection. There are people who walk beside you not because they care about your well-being, but because they feed on proximity. They love the access, not the relationship. They love the benefits, not the bond. They love the position, not the person. And as long as you remain who they expect you to be, quiet enough, small enough, predictable enough, they remain comfortable. But when you start shaking off old versions of yourself, when you start stepping into the potential that once intimidated you, their true nature begins to surface. They become distant, uncomfortable, inconsistent, or even resentful, not because you wronged them, but because your evolution exposed their stagnation. You learn through repeated disappointments and unexpected revelations that friendship is not proven in calm seasons. Friendship is proven in storms. It's proven when the winds of adversity blow against your life and you look to see who is still standing with you. It's proven when you face moments that strip away everything superficial and force the soul to speak its truth. Those moments reveal who is connected to you and who was merely connected to your circumstances. They reveal who values your heart and who values your usefulness. They reveal who prays for you and who preys on you. Life has a way of testing loyalty without your permission. A blessing will test it. A setback will test it. A miracle will test it. A door opening in your life will test it faster than a door closing. Because not everyone has the emotional maturity to rejoice for someone else. Not everyone can celebrate you when you step into a level they haven't reached. Not everyone can clap for you when your victory reminds them of battles they haven't won. And suddenly, the ones you trusted, the ones you confided in, the ones you opened your heart to start showing cracks in the foundation you thought was steady. But you must understand that truth is not betrayal. Truth is revelation. Truth is protection. Truth is direction. When someone's loyalty collapses under pressure, it's not your loss, it's your lesson. It's the unveiling of what you were never meant to carry into your next chapter. It's the release of weight you didn't know was slowing you down. It's the clearing of space so real alignment can enter your life. As you journey through life, you begin to realize that not every person who walks beside you is walking with you in spirit. Some people accompany you because the road you're on is smooth, familiar, or beneficial to them. They enjoy the comfort of your presence, the strength of your character, the warmth of your loyalty, but they do not carry those qualities themselves. They take what you offer without ever matching what you give. They smile when life is gentle, but their loyalty trembles when life becomes demanding. And when the weight of your purpose becomes heavy, when the responsibility of your calling becomes real, their steps begin to slow because they were never built to carry anything with you. There are individuals who stay only as long as your light shines in a way that benefits them. The moment your light starts exposing shadows in their own lives, the moment your growth creates discomfort, the moment your transformation challenges their complacency, they begin to pull back. Not because you changed for the worse, but because you changed in a direction they cannot follow. Some people don't leave because you failed them. They leave because your evolution confronted the excuses they live behind. Your progress becomes a mirror they weren't ready to face. You will notice that the people who once cheered loudest may become the quietest when you start breaking patterns they depended on. When you set boundaries, when you protect your peace, when you stop being the version of yourself that made their lives easier, they start showing you who they truly are. Some friendships crumble not because of betrayal, but because they were built on convenience rather than covenant. They were designed for who you were, not who you are becoming. And life will always reveal the truth when you can no longer fit into the space someone wanted to keep you in. There are friendships that survive only as long as you stay beneath the level of the person you call friend. The moment you rise, the dynamic shifts. Your success awakens their insecurity. Your confidence pokes their envy. Your strength irritates their weakness. And instead of growing with you, they withdraw from you. It is painful to realize, but some people were never clapping for you. They were clapping for the version of you that didn't threaten their comfort. When you become stronger, wiser, more focused, their applause fades because they can no longer hide behind your struggle. But life is strategic. Every separation has purpose. Sometimes people leave because their chapter is finished. Sometimes they leave because their presence would contaminate the next season waiting for you. Sometimes they leave because what is meant for you requires a level of loyalty and purity they cannot offer. And instead of holding on to what is familiar, you must learn to release what is no longer aligned, not with anger, not with resentment, but with clarity, with understanding, with the wisdom to know that everything that falls away is making room for what is true, stable, and divinely connected. You begin to see that losing certain people is not a tragedy but a transformation. It is the universe clearing the path, trimming the branches, removing the unnecessary so your life can grow in direction it was destined to grow. And though the process may feel isolating, that isolation is not abandonment, it is refinement. It is in those moments that you learn who you are without the noise of fake companionship. It is in those moments that your spirit strengthens, your discernment sharpens, and your vision clears as you realize the people you call friends are not always your friends. There comes a time in your life when the truth can no longer be softened, disguised, or ignored. It comes with force, with clarity, with a quiet authority that refuses to be dismissed. And that truth is that the people you call friends are not always the people who are assigned to your destiny. Some are simply passing through, stopping temporarily in your life for reasons that have nothing to do with loyalty or love. They arrive because of what you offer, what you carry, what you give. They enjoy your compassion, your wisdom, your strength, your presence, but their hearts are not anchored to yours. They move with you in the sunlight, but they are unwilling to stand with you through the storms. And no matter how deeply you feel, how generously you pour, or how sincerely you trust, some people do not have the capacity to reciprocate what you offer. Life will teach you that genuine friendship is not measured by how many memories you share, but by how many truths you can withstand together. It is measured in the quiet battles fought beyond the eyes of others, in the loyalty sustained without applause, in the commitment upheld when the season shifts and the winds change direction. But many of the people you call friends are only present in the chapters where everything is convenient. When the atmosphere shifts, when your needs become deeper than your laughter, when your struggles require something more than surface-level comfort, you will see the foundation of those relationships begin to shake. And it's in those cracks that the truth begins to reveal itself. Some people enjoy being around you because your light makes their world brighter, but they do not know how to stay when your light flickers. They celebrate your strength, but they disappear when you need support. They speak of loyalty, but they shrink when loyalty requires sacrifice. They love what you bring, but they do not love who you are. And as painful as that realization may be, it frees you from the burden of trying to make permanent what was always temporary. It frees you from the exhaustion of trying to hold on to people who were never rooted in the soil of your purpose. You'll discover that silence is one of the greatest tests of friendship. Silence from you, silence around you, silence about you. When your success threatens to shine brighter than someone's ego, you will hear their silence. When your growth forces them to confront their own lack of progress, you will hear their silence. When you start healing, when you stop tolerating disrespect, when you refuse to settle for less than what you deserve, you will hear their silence, and that silence will speak louder than any argument, excuse, or justification. It is in that silence that the truth whispers, "These are not your people," but you must understand that separation is not always the work of conflict. Sometimes separation is the work of destiny. Sometimes the divine removes people not because they harmed you, but because they cannot go where you are going. Their energy cannot survive in the altitude you are rising to. Their intention cannot thrive in the environment you are maturing into. Their presence would poison the promise waiting ahead, and so life, in its wisdom, begins to distance you from what cannot sustain your future, not as punishment, not as rejection, but as preservation. There will be moments when the loss feels heavy, when the loneliness feels sharp, when the silence feels unfamiliar, but those moments are not signs of abandonment. They are signs of alignment. They are the clearing of old energies, the breaking of old attachments, the dismantling of old illusions. They make room for the people who will walk with you, not just beside you. The ones who will stand for you, not just near you. The ones who will uplift you when you fall, confront you when you drift, and celebrate you without envy when you rise. You begin to realize that true friends do not flinch when your destiny calls you higher. They do not shrink when your potential expands. They do not compete with your growth or resent your blessings. They carry your name with honor. They guard your heart with intention. They stand with you in the shadows and celebrate you in the light. And when you find people like that, you begin to understand why everything and everyone else had to fall away, so you could finally see the difference between those who were simply around you and those who were truly for you.